Hashtag how neural networks actually learn. Imagine trying to teach a child to recognize a cat. You don't hand them a rulebook that says fur, legs, pointed ears, whiskers, tail. You simply show them cats. Over and over again. After enough examples, something clicks. They just know. What's remarkable is that artificial neural networks learn in almost exactly the same way, and understanding that process reveals something profound about the nature of intelligence itself. Today, we're going underneath the hood of modern AI to understand how neural networks actually learn, and why that process is both simpler and more mysterious than most people realize. To understand how neural networks learn, we need to start with what they're made of. A neural network is essentially a layered system of mathematical functions loosely inspired by the human brain. At its most basic level, you have an input layer, where raw data enters the system. You have hidden layers in the middle, where all the interesting processing happens. And you have an output layer, where the network delivers its answer or prediction. Each layer is made up of individual nodes, called neurons, and these neurons are connected to each other by pathways called weights. Think of weights as the volume knobs on a radio. They control how much influence one neuron has over another. The entire learning process, everything we're about to discuss, comes down to adjusting those knobs. But before a network can learn, it needs to be built. When you first initialize a neural network, the weights are set to small random values. This is intentional. You don't want every neuron starting at the same value because they'd all update in identical ways and the network would never develop meaningful structure. So the process begins in a state of beautiful, organized chaos. The network knows absolutely nothing, and that's exactly where it needs to be. Now here's where learning actually begins. You feed the network a training example, say an image of a dog labeled dog. The data moves forward through the network layer by layer, with each neuron applying its weight to the incoming signal and passing the result along. This forward movement is called forward propagation. At the end, the network spits out a prediction. In the beginning, that prediction is almost certainly wrong. It might say cat or airplane because the weights are still random. But that wrongness is actually the most important moment in the entire process, because that error is the signal the network uses to improve. This is where a concept called the loss function enters the picture. The loss function is simply a mathematical measurement of how wrong the network's prediction was. If the network said there was a 90% chance the image was a cat, but it was actually a dog, the loss function quantifies that mistake into a single number, a score of failure, if you will. The goal of training is to make that number as small as possible, and the mechanism by which the network does that is one of the most elegant algorithms in all of computer science: backpropagation. Backpropagation works by taking that error signal and flowing it backward through the network, layer by layer. Using calculus, specifically a rule called the chain rule, it figures out exactly how much each individual weight in the network contributed to the final mistake. Did a particular connection make the error bigger or smaller? By how much? The algorithm assigns a specific blame to every single weight. Then, using a technique called gradient descent, each weight is nudged slightly in the direction that would reduce the error. Slightly is the key word here. The size of that nudge is controlled by a parameter called the learning rate, and choosing the right learning rate is one of the most critical and often underappreciated challenges in training neural networks. Too large and the network overshoots good solutions and destabilizes. Too small and training takes forever or gets stuck in poor solutions. This entire cycle forward. Propagation, compute loss, backpropagate, update weights happens once for every training example. And in modern deep learning, you might do this cycle millions or even billions of times. Each pass through the full dataset is called an epoch. Over many epochs, the weights gradually shift from random noise into a precise, finely tuned configuration that captures real patterns in the data. That configuration is, in essence, what a trained neural network is. Now let's go deeper, because what we've described so far is the skeleton of learning. The real richness lies in what happens inside those hidden layers during training. Researchers have found, through visualization techniques, that early layers of a network trained on images tend to learn simple features like edges and color gradients. Middle layers learn textures and shapes. Deeper layers learn complex structures like eyes, wheels, or faces. No human programmer designed these features. The network discovered them entirely on its own, guided only by the backpropagation signal. That emergent structure is what makes deep learning so powerful and so strange. A critical ingredient that makes all of this possible is the activation function. After each neuron computes its weighted sum of inputs, it passes that value through an activation function before sending it to the next layer. Without activation functions, no matter how many layers you stack, the entire network would collapse mathematically into a single linear transformation, essentially useless for complex tasks. Activation functions introduce nonlinearity, which is what allows networks to learn curved, complex, high-dimensional decision boundaries. The most widely used activation function today is called ReLU, which stands for Rectified Linear Unit. It's elegantly simple: if the input is negative, output 0. If it's positive, output it unchanged. That's it. Yet this brutally simple function, applied millions of times across a deep network, enables the recognition of faces, the translation of languages, and the generation of photorealistic images. One of the biggest challenges in training neural networks is something called overfitting. This happens when a network learns the training data too well, memorizing specific examples rather than learning general patterns. An overfit network performs brilliantly on data it has seen before but fails completely on new, unseen data. It's like a student who memorizes every practice exam question but can't solve problems they haven't seen before. Researchers combat overfitting with several techniques. Dropout randomly disables a percentage of neurons during training, forcing the network to develop redundant, more robust representations. Data augmentation artificially expands the training set by creating modified versions of existing examples, flipping images, adjusting brightness, adding noise. Regularization techniques add penalties to the loss function that discourage the network from developing overly complex, specialized weights. Another fascinating aspect of modern neural network training involves something called the optimization landscape. Imagine the loss function as a mountainous terrain, with peaks representing high error and valleys representing low error. Gradient descent is like dropping a ball on that landscape and watching it roll downhill. But the terrain is not simple. There are plateaus, narrow valleys, and countless local minima points that are lower than their immediate surroundings but not the absolute lowest point in the landscape. For decades, researchers worried that gradient descent would get trapped in local minima and never find good solutions. Interestingly, modern research suggests that in very high-dimensional spaces, the kind occupied by networks with millions of parameters, most local minima are actually quite good, nearly as good as the global minimum. The real danger turns out to be saddle points, which are flat regions where gradients vanish in learning stalls. Advanced optimizers like ATOM and RMSprop use clever techniques involving momentum and adaptive learning rates to navigate these treacherous landscapes far more effectively than basic gradient descent ever could. The scale at which modern networks train is worth pausing to appreciate. Large language models like GPT-4 have hundreds of billions of parameters. Those are hundreds of billions of individual weights being adjusted through backpropagation. Training such a model requires thousands of specialized graphics processing units running simultaneously for months. The compute cost runs into the tens of millions of dollars. And yet the underlying algorithm is fundamentally the same forward propagation, loss computation, and backpropagation loop we described for a simple image classifier.